Learn English through story. The Whisper of the Leaves. In the heart of an ancient forest stood a grand oak tree, its branches spreading wide and tall, providing shelter and shade for countless creatures. This oak, named Eldros, was known throughout the forest for his wisdom and age, having witnessed centuries of change and growth. One bright morning, as the sun's rays filtered through the dense canopy, a young man named Eric entered the forest. Eric was a merchant by trade, known in his village for his ambition and shrewdness. He had heard tales of a mystical herb that could cure any ailment, and his heart burned with the desire to find it, not for the sake of healing others, but for the wealth it could bring him. Eric wandered deeper into the forest, guided by the distant sound of a babbling brook. As he moved further, the forest grew denser, and soon he found himself in a clearing where the great oak, Eldros, stood. The tree's presence was imposing, yet there was a comforting serenity about it. Exhausted from his journey, Eric sat beneath the oak's sprawling branches, his back against its sturdy trunk. As Eric rested, he heard a gentle whisper. Startled, he looked around, but there was no one in sight. The whispering continued, soft and melodic, like the rustling of leaves. "Who's there?" Eric called out, his voice tinged with curiosity and a hint of fear. "It is I, Eldros," came the reply, the voice seeming to emanate from the very leaves above him. "What brings you to my domain, young traveler?" Eric, still taken aback, composed himself and replied, "I seek the legendary herb that cures all ailments. They say it grows in this forest, and I intend to find it." Eldros's leaves rustled thoughtfully. "The herb you seek is indeed real, but finding it requires more than just determination. You must first understand the true nature of healing." "I don't need lectures, old tree," Eric snapped, impatience creeping into his tone. "Just tell me where to find it." Eldros sighed, a sound like the wind through the branches. "Very well. The herb grows in the heart of the forest, but be warned, only those with pure intentions can see it." Eric, dismissing Eldros's warning, continued his journey, driven by the promise of riches. Days turned into weeks as he ventured deeper into the forest, his frustration growing as the herb remained elusive. He encountered many plants, but none had the miraculous properties he sought. His supplies dwindled, and exhaustion began to take its toll. One evening, as Eric rested by a small stream, he noticed a figure approaching. It was an old woman, her back bent with age, carrying a bundle of herbs. She greeted him warmly and offered him some food. Grateful but wary, Eric accepted. As they shared the meal, the old woman spoke of her life in the forest, of how she gathered herbs to help the sick in nearby villages. "Healing is a sacred gift," she said. "It's not just about the herbs, but about the love and care with which they are given." Eric listened, his heart stirred by her words. For the first time, he began to see the forest not as a treasure trove, but as a living, breathing entity. The old woman's kindness and dedication to others touched him deeply. The next morning, Eric helped the old woman gather herbs. He observed how she chose each plant with reverence, taking only what was needed and leaving the rest to flourish. He learned about the delicate balance of the forest and the interconnectedness of all living things. Weeks passed, and Eric felt a change within himself. He no longer thought of the herb as a means to wealth, but as a symbol of the forest's generosity and wisdom. One day, while walking alone in a secluded part of the forest, he saw a glimmer of light. Approaching it, he found a small, unassuming plant with delicate white flowers. He knew instinctively that this was the herb he had been seeking. Eric gently gathered a few leaves, his heart filled with gratitude. He returned to the old woman's hut, eager to share his discovery. She smiled warmly and said, "You have learned well, Eric. The herb reveals itself only to those who seek to heal, not to exploit. With the herb in hand, Eric left the forest, not as a greedy merchant, but as a healer dedicated to helping others. He returned to his village and shared the herb's properties with the local healer, ensuring that its benefits would reach those in need. Years passed, and Eric became known as a healer, revered not for his wealth, but for his compassion and wisdom. He often returned to the forest, visiting Eldros and the old woman, who had become his mentors and friends. One day, as he sat beneath Eldros's branches, he heard the familiar whisper, "You have done well, Eric. You have learned that true wealth lies not in what we possess, but in what we give." Eric smiled, his heart at peace. He had found not only the legendary herb but also the true essence of healing and the richness of a life dedicated to the well-being of others. And so, the whisper of the leaves continued to guide him, a gentle reminder of the forest's timeless wisdom and the enduring power of selfless love. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you enjoyed, then please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.